Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Price Check Podcast here on the In the Zone Network, where we go city to city, state to state, worldwide. Back in the world of the NBA as we typically are. A couple different storylines to hit on today. Of course, we're going to recap the happenings in the NBA's in-season tournament, give out some picks again like we did in our last episode. But first, got to start with the money. Of course, as we know, here at the Price Check, love nothing more than securing a bag, whether it's a player, coach, even owners. Anybody that secures a bag, we love to see it happen. So today, of course, we got to start the show with Mark Cuban, owner of the Dallas Mavericks, selling his controlling ownership stake in the team for $3.5 billion here to the Adelson family there in Dallas. Now, for those of y'all keeping score at home, Mark Cuban bought the team initially in 2000 for $285 million. So that's a nice little $3.2 billion come up for him. So I imagine, just like Michael Jordan has also recently sold his controlling ownership stake in the Charlotte Hornets. We saw Mark Lazary, also the Milwaukee Bucks, sell his controlling ownership stake within the last year or so. Those teams looked at, Matt Ishbia, who purchased the Phoenix Suns after the whole Robert Sarver situation panned out, saw that price tag that they got and was like, shit, let me go ahead and get that check. So, of course, you got Mark Cuban giving up his controlling ownership stake, but is also maintaining the control over basketball operations for the team. So, looking forward to seeing how that may change the fortunes of the franchise there in Dallas, seeing if that keeps Luka there long term, all of the above. But to the on-court basketball now, the NBA's in-season tournament has now wrapped up its group play section. Actually got some great basketball out of group play, man. The teams seemed that they really, cared about the outcomes and the result of the in-season tournament. And now you got the final 8 set. And so in the Eastern Conference, you had the Bucks, Celtics, and Pacers all winning their groups, with the Knicks being the wild card team for the Eastern Conference. And then over in the West, you had the Los Angeles Lakers, New Orleans Pelicans, and Sacramento Kings winning their groups, with the Phoenix Suns being the wild card in that conference. So now you have matchups here on next Monday and Tuesday, December 4th and December 5th, where the Indiana Pacers are going to host the Boston Celtics in one matchup in the East, with the Bucks hosting the Knicks in the other matchup. And then over in the Western Conference, you got the Lakers hosting the Suns, which surprisingly, this early in the season is going to be their third time matching up already, which is great for us to get more LeBron versus KD. And then, of course, on the other side of the Western Conference, you got the Kings and Pelicans matching up. So I think that these are an interesting set of teams. And I think if you're the NBA, you probably are thrilled that you not only get some of your big market and, historic franchises like the Lakers, Knicks, and Celtics, but you also get teams with some young stars. You get Sacramento there with their tandem of De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. You get Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, and the likes for the New Orleans Pelicans. You also get Tyrese Halliburton and this young, fun Indiana Pacers team. And so, in terms of outcome and predictions here, right? Now, granted, these quarterfinal matchups are going to take place just like any regular season games on the home courts of the individual teams. And then the Final Four is going to be played on Thursday and Saturday in Vegas. So I think if you had to predict who's going to make it to that Final Four, based on what we've seen this season, I think the Bucks are going to take care of business against the Knicks. The Knicks are fun to watch. Jalen Brunson, shout out to him being the superstar that the Knicks didn't know that they needed. He's been taking care of business this season and has definitely lifted them up, putting the team on his back at different times. But I think we're starting to see Giannis and Dame for the Bucks starting to come into their own as a duo. They've been lights out. We're lights out against Miami to close out group play here on Tuesday night. I think, it's hard to pick against the Bucks right now. Same thing for the Celtics on the other side of this. Now, granted, Indiana has been a team that I love watching so far this season. Tyrese Halliburton is taking a superstar leap as we see it happening right here in front of our eyes. But I think in terms of being able to not only score but then defend, the Celtics are a little bit better equipped for that. Now, it'll be interesting to see if they get Kristaps Porzingis back for that matchup. He's been out with a little bit of I believe, a knee injury. So we'll see if he's back for that quarterfinal matchup. But right now, I got the Bucks and Celtics advancing in the East, and then, of course, giving us a nice little preview of what could be a possible playoff or even Eastern Conference Finals matchup. come playoff time here between the Bucks and Celtics, and a matchup that we've, quite frankly, been looking forward to since the whole Damian Lillard and Drew Holiday trades played out. So Bucks and Celtics are my predictions to win the quarterfinals matchups in the Eastern Conference. Western Conference now, y'all know my rooting interest. Lakers are the home team for all intents and purposes of this show, but it's hard for me right now to have a whole lot of confidence in them against great teams, or I guess other talented teams. Phoenix being one of them, even though they've beaten Phoenix here twice this season. They haven't really been playing their best basketball as of late. Now, part of that is injuries. You've had guys like Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent. You've even had Jared Vanderbilt, who hasn't played at all this season. You had a lot of guys in and out of the lineup battling with injuries. So that has had a lot to do with it. But I do also think on the other side of this, LeBron James, being who he is, he knows the opportunity that's in front of him. Another reason to lift any trophy, of course, is going to put a little bit of pep in the step of the king himself. So I'll take the Lakers. Don't feel great about it against the Suns, but I think that's going to be a great game to watch either way. I'll take the Lakers. And then again, on the other side of this with the Kings and Pelicans, I think I'm taking the Kings, man. De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, again, as a duo, have been outstanding. De'Aaron Fox is looking like an all-NBA caliber player this season when he's been healthy. They are missing Keegan Murray right now, which makes, for a little bit of a difference. But I think overall, the Kings are playing some good basketball, as we saw against the Warriors the other night in their comeback win to close out group play. This Kings team is tough, man. They can score. They play fast pace. They get up and down. And they really wear you down with that pace over the course of the game. So Bucks, Celtics, Lakers, Kings are my quarterfinals predictions. We'll see if those come true here next week. And then, of course, on to Vegas, man, where that would be a pretty fun Final Four for us here in the NBA's first in-season tournament. So looking forward to those outcomes. Now, two teams that I want to make sure we keep an eye on here. They did not win their groups or advance here out of group play for the in-season tournament, but two teams that I've got my eye on that I'm going to continue to watch moving forward this season. One team we've mentioned here in a recent show, the Minnesota Timberwolves. If you guys are not paying attention to them right now, they actually have the best record in the Western Conference at 13-5. Early sample size, only been 18 games, but they are playing lights out defense right now. The whole Rudy Gobert trade, we've mocked it, we've laughed at it, all of the above, but so far, at least this season, it's turning out to work out for them. Again, they have one of the best defenses in basketball. Rudy's been playing well, kind of looking like himself again. Karl-Anthony Towns has fit in very well next to him this season and being able to, pick and pop like he normally does, but also hitting the boards and kind of committing to the defensive end. I got to give Karl that one. And then, a fan favorite here on this show, Anthony Edwards is taking the superstar leap, just as we mentioned with Tyrese Halliburton, two guys who did get a chance to play at the World Championship tournament this summer here for Team USA. So got my eye on Minnesota and whether or not they can keep up their strong play here throughout the rest of the regular season. And then on the Eastern Conference side of things, man, it's the Orlando Magic. We talked about, being early, but Orlando's also got one of the best records in the Eastern Conference, I believe second in the Eastern Conference right now in terms of standing. So Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, those two young players taking a leap themselves. We knew Paolo was special coming out of school, but 6'10", 250, being able to handle, shoot the three, hit the boards, play defense. They got a lot of length in Orlando. A lot of young guys playing with great energy. Jalen Suggs, another top pick that they had here in recent years that's starting to play well at this point. So excited to see if Orlando can get themselves back into the playoff picture, a playoff picture that they have not been a part of here in quite a few seasons. So those two teams, keep my eye on here for the remainder of the regular season, regardless of what happens with the whole tournament outcomes and things like that. Now, before we end the show, of course, we gave you some picks here on last episode. I believe with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to get 30 points. He fell just 2 points shy of that. Luka Doncic had one of his worst games of the season against the Pelicans. We predicted the 25-plus points. That did not turn out for us, but we did correctly predict the Utah Jazz money line over the Portland Trailblazers. So what we're going to do this time for our picks here to end the show, we got one parlay, 4 picks. We actually are incorporating some football into this one today as we record here on Thursday, November 30th. Thursday night football tonight, you have Cowboys and Seahawks in Dallas. I'm taking the Cowboys money line on that one. Cowboys, of course, playing like one of the better teams in the NFC now. They've also played some weaker competition and beat them. But I think the Seahawks team is reeling right now, still missing running back Kenneth Walker. Is looking like he's not going to play again here on the short week. So we'll see what that turns out to be for him. But the Seattle team has been a little hit or miss on offense. And against that Dallas defense, man, I think that's going to be a problem. So we've got the Cowboys money line. We have the Knicks money line against the Pistons. Pistons have lost 15 straight games. That's all you need to know. They also just lost, and are going to be playing their second night of a back-to-back here. Lost last night to the Los Angeles Lakers. So we got the Knicks money line against the Pistons. We got the Minnesota Timberwolves covering the 10.5 against Utah. This Utah team has been reeling lately, missing Lauri Markkanen, who's their main star right now. There's a chance that Anthony Edwards may miss this game, but I'm not even worried about that one. Minnesota has one of the best point differentials in the league this season. I think that point differential keeps itself going here tonight, minus 10.5. And then the fourth and final pick of this parlay, the Milwaukee Bucks money line against the Chicago Bulls, a team that they've owned here in the last couple seasons. Giannis typically plays big against the Chicago Bulls, and I expect that to continue tonight as well. So, Knicks money line, Bucks money line, Cowboys money line with the Minnesota Timberwolves, minus 10.5. Those four picks together for you on FanDuel get you at plus 233 odds. So, nice little 2-to-1 parlay that you can go ahead and place there. And, of course, if you win, great. If you don't, hold me accountable, man. This is what we're here for. So, till next time, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Price Check Podcast here. We actually got a nice little surprise for y'all here next week. Won't spoil it too much. Just know it has a little bit to do with my alma mater, for those of y'all that know where I went to college. So, we'll have that for you here on the early end of next week. And then, of course, we're going to continue watching NBA basketball and giving our input. So, until next time, I am your host, Josh Price, Price Check Podcast. Checking out.